Robert Taylor was a legend of Hollywood's golden age. His stunning good looks and dependable acting earned him the nickname the man with the perfect profile. He was born on August 5, 1911, in Philly, Nebraska, as Spangler Arlington Brew. His father, Spangler Andrew Brew, was a grain farmer who later became a doctor to cure his wife's long-standing illness. The family eventually settled in Beatrice, Nebraska, where Robert attended high school. He was a talented young man who excelled in track and field and played the cello in the school orchestra. In 1929, he enrolled in Doane College in Crete, Nebraska, where he became a member of the Doane String Quartet and performed in the school's dramatics group, the Doane Players. His first stage appearance was in the play Helena Boys in 1929. Robert Taylor had a passion for music and it was his first love. In 1931, he followed his dream and relocated to Claremont, California to study cello at Pomona College. As he was more and more drawn to the stage, he participated in several college plays, including The Importance of Being Earnest and Camille. In late 1932, Robert's talent was noticed by an Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer talent scout during a college production and he was offered a screen test. He signed a 7-year contract with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer for just $35 a week, becoming the lowest-paid actor on record. But this was just the beginning for him. His name was changed to Robert Taylor and he quickly rose to stardom. Robert's screen debut was in 1934, when he was loaned to 20th Century Fox for a supporting role in Handy Andy starring Will Rogers. He then had several minor roles, including Buried Loot in 1935 as part of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's Crime Does Not Pay series. But it was in 1935 when he was given his first lead role, loaned to Universal, that Robert became a romantic star. The movie was Magnificent Obsession, co-starring Irene Dunne. With the success of Magnificent Obsession, Robert was one of the most sought-after actors in Hollywood. In 1936, he co-starred with Greta Garbo in Camille and became one of the biggest box office stars of the time, with a fan mail base that even exceeded that of Clark Gable, The King. In the late 1930s, Robert Taylor solidified his status as a leading man in Hollywood by appearing in a diverse range of films. He charmed audiences with his performances in musicals like Broadway Melody of 1936 and Broadway Melody of 1938. As well as in comedies such as A Yank at Oxford alongside Vivien Leigh. The film was produced in England in 1938. Taylor's on-screen chemistry with Leigh was evident once more in the 1940 tragic love story Waterloo Bridge. However, by the start of the 1940s, Taylor began to challenge his clean-cut image and take on grittier roles. In 1941, he played the titular role in the western Billy the Kid, and the following year, he portrayed the ruthless gangster Johnny Eager in a film of the same name, co-starring Lana Turner. Taylor also proved his comedic abilities in films such as When Ladies Meet in 1941 and Her Cardboard Lover in 1942, where he acted alongside Joan Crawford and Greer Garson. With his versatility and range, Robert Taylor continued to captivate audiences and remain a major Hollywood name. After America entered World War II, Robert Taylor made a mark in the film industry with his performances in 2 war movies, Stand By for Action in 1942 and Baton the following year, where he played a tough non-commissioned officer. He then joined the U.S. Naval Air Corps as a lieutenant, although he was considered too old for active duty. Instead, he became a flying instructor for 3 years from 1943 to 1946. During this time, he starred in and directed instructional films, and even narrated the 1944 propaganda film The Fighting Lady, which showcased life aboard an aircraft carrier in wartime. However, in 1944, Taylor reluctantly appeared in another propaganda film, Song of Russia, playing an American classical conductor who falls in love with a Russian girl. This film was to cause him many problems later on. After the war, Taylor returned to Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer and continued to develop his darker image, appearing in the No Irish film Undercurrent with Katharine Hepburn and Robert Mitchum in 1946, and High Wall in 1947 as a suspect killer. In 1947, Taylor was called to testify before the House Committee on Un-American Activities, HUAC, regarding communism in Hollywood. The committee was created in 1938 to investigate any citizen or organization suspected of having communist ties. During his testimony, Taylor was asked about his appearance in Song of Russia 3 years earlier. At first, he asserted that he had thought the film was definitely communist propaganda and had not wanted to do it. However, under pressure from both House Un-American Activities Committee and Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, he retracted this and declared to House Un-American Activities Committee's chairman, John Parnell Thomas, that he was not forced to do the picture. Robert Taylor's career took a turn for the worse when he appeared before the House Committee on Un-American Activities. He was called to testify about any ties to communism in Hollywood, and under pressure from both House Un-American Activities Committee and Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, he named actors Howard Da Silva, Karen Morley, and screenwriter Lester Cole as Communist Party members. Their careers were greatly impacted by the hearings, and Cole was even sent to prison, unable to write again under his own name. Taylor's reputation suffered greatly as a result of naming names, and his films were banned in several countries, including France, Hungary, and Czechoslovakia. Despite this setback, Taylor remained a top box office draw, although his appeal began to wane as he aged. In 1950, he starred in the epic film Quo Vadis alongside Deborah Kerr, which was a major hit and led to a string of costume dramas such as Ivanhoe, 1951, Knights of the Round Table, 1953, and The Adventures of Quentin Durward, 1955. All of which were filmed in England and were popular, but none reached the success of Quo Vadis. Throughout the majority of his career, Robert Taylor felt that he was simply viewed as a pretty face and not a true actor. In an effort to prove his worth as a performer, he sought out more challenging roles in the 1950s. One such role was in the 1950 film Devil's Doorway, where he played an American Indian with dark stained skin. The film tackled thought-provoking themes surrounding the social struggles faced by Native Americans. Taylor also gave noteworthy performances in several other films during the decade, including Westward the Women in 1951, Rogue Cop in 1954, The Last Hunt in 1956, and Party Girl in 1958. In the late 1950s, he appeared in a series of westerns, including the comedic Many Rivers to Cross with Eleanor Parker in 1955, The Law and Jake Wade in 1958, The Hangman in 1959, and Cattle King in 1963. This genre proved to be his most successful, leading many critics to believe that this was his strongest suit. As Taylor's movie career started to decline in 1959, he made his debut on television with the series The Detective starring Robert Taylor. He played the role of Captain Matt Holbrook, and the show became a huge hit, lasting for 3 years. After the show's end in 1962, he made another appearance on television in 2 episodes of Hondo. Despite his movie career slowing down, Taylor continued to work in the industry with average productions such as the westerns Cattle King in 1963 and Return of the Gunfighter in 1967. He also joined the television series Death Valley Days in 1966. When his friend Ronald Reagan left to pursue politics, Taylor took over as narrator and remained with the series until his death in 1969. In his personal life, Taylor was a ladies' man and was married twice to actresses. He was romantically linked with several other famous actresses including Ava Gardner, Eleanor Parker, Virginia Bruce, and Irene Hervey. Robert Taylor had 2 marriages in his life. His first wife was the actress Barbara Stanwyck, whom he married in 1939 after appearing together in the movie His Brother's Wife in 1936. The couple was advised to legally marry by Louis B. Mayer in order to avoid any gossip or bad publicity. Despite being married, the couple did not have any children, and the marriage ended in divorce in 1951 after Taylor had an affair with an Italian starlet while filming Quo Vadis. The divorce was bitter, and Barbara auctioned off their Bel Air home in Los Angeles, along with all its contents, and received 15% of Taylor's earnings until his death. Taylor's second marriage was to German-born actress Ursula Thiess in 1954. Ursula gave up her acting career to raise their family, and the couple had 2 children, a son and a daughter. Taylor also became a stepfather to Ursula's 2 children from her previous marriage. Robert Taylor, the Hollywood legend, lived a life away from the spotlight at his sprawling ranch in Brentwood, Los Angeles. Known as the Robert Taylor Ranch, this property was a place of peace and tranquility for him and his family. Despite living a peaceful life on his ranch, Taylor was not immune to the struggles of life. He was a heavy smoker and this took a toll on his health. In 1968, he was diagnosed with lung cancer and underwent major surgery to remove his right lung. Sadly, Taylor passed away on June 8, 1969, at St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica, California. He was only 57 years old. Robert Taylor's legacy lives on and he will always be remembered as a Hollywood legend. Rest in peace, Robert Taylor.